All right, attempt number 3 or 4 or whatever on to record the test topics for Wednesday's test. If you're an even class, you'd see me on Thursday. Obviously, you guys in the room now, you're your third period, so Wednesday test. Okay, first thing, or first like major topic would be the algebra review stuff. So I'm going to put a bunch of things under the algebra review. Things like find f of 2. There's one of those on the warm-ups, right? Just plug it in. But be careful because you got order of operations and negatives and fractions and all those things. Maybe g of 2a. But it's the same process. Your answer is going to look a little different because you're plugging in 2a instead of just 2. Or f of x plus h. Again, same process, weirder answer, but you're still going to just plug in x plus h wherever there's an x in that function. This is related. Substitute or solve. Oh, those are different things, though. Substitute would be like into an expression. Solve would be an equation. But it's a lot of the same skills. The main thing I wanted to say is with fractions. Again, hence the warm-up, so that you're ready to see the fraction stuff. Let's see, interval notation. It's almost like there's this overlap between notes, homework, quiz, review, and then the test. So by the time we get to the test, you've seen all this multiple times. The question of is it a function? How do you answer that question, or what are you looking for? If every x has, I wouldn't say its own y, because multiple x's could go to the same y. So let me show you what I mean by that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is that a function? Yes, that is a function. But does every x have its own y? I'm not sure I'd phrase it that way. They're sharing a 4, but it's okay to share the 4. Every x goes to one y. So this is yes, this is a function. And just so we don't even have to use letters, we can use, or we don't have to use numbers, we can use like letters and shapes. Say A goes to triangle, B goes to triangle, B goes to circle, C goes to circle. Is that a function?
No.
No. Why not?
Because B goes to triangle and circle.
Right. You don't, like the vending machine thing is, if you push the button B, you get 2 snacks, which is great. You get your triangles and your circles. What does that be? Like Doritos and donuts, I guess. Like, that's great for you. You got 2 snacks for the price of 1, but that's not a functioning vending machine. Some people use the birthday analogy. Like every person has one birthday. There may be more than one person with the same birthday. That's like this one. That's okay. But one person can't have 2 birthdays. And in fact, I don't remember what class it's in, so I might be making fun of somebody in here. On the question 3 on the quiz, is it a function? Yes. Why or why not? Each x goes to one y. A bunch of people phrased that differently, and if what you said was correct, it was fine. But one person put for their answer here, everybody has their own birthday. Well, I know what you mean, and yes, that's an example of a function, but that is not the answer to why this thing is a function. So they did not give credit for that, even though I knew what you were going for. Okay, so is it a function? There's that. There's also a vertical line test, right? If you're looking at a graph, that's kind of the easy way to do it. It is the same type of thing, where one x goes to 2 y's would fail the vertical line test. Right, if we had, oh, that one is a function, so let's fail the vertical line test. Right, 1, 1 and 1, 3. If you push the 1 button, are you getting the 1 or the 3 out? We don't know. That's not a function. Something we didn't work much on, I think it's in the review, domain of a square root or a fraction. So we can see it. I'm also writing it that way so that we can do an example of each underneath there. So let's say we have the square root of 3x minus 12 and y equals 1 over 4x plus 20. And let's find the domain of those. I think I did those in the reverse order that I would like to work them. Because to me, the fraction one is easier. What are you not allowed to divide by? 0. So that means the bottom can't be 0. So my domain is 4x plus 20 cannot be 0. Because then I'd be dividing by 0, and that's not allowed. So a little bit of work. 4x can't be negative 20. That means x can't be negative 5. And that's an okay answer. It's not an interval notation answer, but it's an okay answer. X can't be negative 5. In interval notation, it gets kind of complicated. Maybe you have to visualize the number line. We want everything up to negative 5, don't include negative 5, and then everything past negative 5. So everything up to negative 5, everything past negative 5, but don't include negative 5. So either one of those answers is okay, just depends on what's being asked. And if it doesn't specify, you probably go with the easier answer. But sometimes we ask for interval notation. Back up one more step. Can't divide by 0. That's the main thing with fractions. What about square roots? What are we concerned with in square roots? What can't you do here? Yeah, can't square root a negative number. So that means whatever's in there, 3x minus 12, has to be greater than or equal to 0. So 3x has to be greater than or equal to 4, or excuse me, too many steps at once there. 3x greater than or equal to 12, x greater than or equal to 4. And it's kind of the same thing going on as the fraction one. That's an okay answer, but if we want interval notation, then we have to think, all right, start at 4, go out to infinity, start at 4, go to infinity, include 4, and again, either one of those is okay, just make sure you answer the way the test asks you to answer it. If it doesn't specify, you can go with either one. Roman numeral 2. What do you think Roman numeral 2 is? Roman numeral 1 is algebra stuff. Algebra review. Parent functions. I believe there were 8 of them on that sheet that we learned, so make sure you know and can go between the like 3 main things: the name, the equation, and the graph. And we tried to hit this in those Kahoots where we start with one thing and ask for the other, and start with one of the other things and ask for, so I should be able to give you any one of those 3 things and ask for the other 2 things. So make sure that those are all like connected in your head: the name, the equation, the graph. And then we also did transformations of those. And for transformations, that's where we went back and forth between the equation and the graph. We didn't really worry about the name. Like the absolute value worksheet, all of those are absolute value. Most of that worksheet was we give you the equation and ask for the graph, and then those bottom three where we give you the graph and ask for the equation. But it's all the same concepts. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be tables?
I don't think there are tables. Ask me that again tomorrow. Okay? I looked at it briefly over the weekend. I don't remember seeing tables. The only two that I wanted to call your attention to for parent functions were the two that look the most alike, especially on a calculator graph that doesn't get things quite perfectly. Like those two look pretty similar. What's that first one? Square root. And what's the second one? The log graph. And as usual, if you know the name, if you know the equation, it's easy to get the name, right? You just read the thing. That's a square root. That's a log. There were 6 others, but in my mind, those were the only two. Those were the two that were like closest to each other, and I felt like people were getting confused. Oh, you know what? There was that one other one on the Kahoot that I felt like people messed this one up occasionally. What's that? Cubic. Y equals x cubed. Cubic. I'm out of room on my paper. The only thing left I was going to say is that there's some multiple choice and some free response on the test. So that's nice when you get the multiple choice. Work the problem, see the answer, and feel good about things. Hopefully. Okay, today's assignment, let's be clear on this, so today's Monday. Today's assignment is this review worksheet. It's the last, goodness, it's like the last 3 pages, although shame on me, those last 2 pages were both one-sided. That could have been cleaned up a little bit. So that's today's assignment. Tomorrow, I'll go over the review. I'll answer questions from the review. And I'll record a bunch of them. So I'll have a set. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do this, but I'll do a set number in first period, a set number in third period, in sixth period, and seventh period. Which means I guess I'll just do a fourth of them in each class period, and then I'll post all of those videos. And so later, as you're working, if you need to, you may not need to, but all of the answers all of the questions will have a video answer with explanation. Does that make sense? And you'll just have to figure out, if I need an explanation for number 17, which one is that? Because first period will be 1, 5, 9. Second period will be 2, 6, 10. Oops, that'll be third period. Sixth period will be 3, 7, 11. Seventh period that'll be the easy one, multiples of 4. So basically, I'll work a fourth of the review in each class, record each one, post them all, and that way you'll have access to everything. I don't expect anyone to look at all the videos, but some of you might. But that way, if there is a question on one, you can go find it and get help with it. So today's assignment is this worksheet. I would hope you have it finished for tomorrow. That way you can ask questions on it. And then let me remind you that there's a optional review in the book that I guess is tomorrow's assignment, but it's optional, so is it really an assignment? It's kind of up to you. My suggestion is work the review worksheet, and if you feel pretty good, then be done. Or work it again, or review the quiz, or whatever. If you struggle, then maybe you need to try some of those textbook problems. Also remind you that I have tutoring during B lunch tomorrow. Mustang hour starts today. Yay. So during B lunch tomorrow, let's see, so you'll already have seen me. If there are still things you're struggling with, come by during B lunch and we can clear some things up. And then obviously the test is Wednesday. Questions on anything? Sophie? You do not need to do that page. She's looking at, I don't know if I can find it. Anything in the notes that we did not do, you don't need to finish. So like if you look through here, there was a bunch on this page we didn't do because that was kind of like overkill. We don't need 20 examples of that. We didn't do all of this page. We didn't do all of that page. So if it's on notes and we didn't do it all, then fine. You don't need to do it. The worksheets I need to see finished. There was one more. What else didn't we do? Yeah, we didn't do that at all. That's the page Sophie was looking at. And we only did like half of the graphing notes on absolute value because it felt like you had it figured out. So all that to say is, if it's on a notes page and we didn't do it, you don't have to do it. Now, if you need to for more practice, go for it. But I'll be looking at the worksheets to see if they are completed, along with the quiz with corrections. Other questions? Yes, sir. Go ahead. Challenge when it's optional as well.
Also, will the homework be like completion grade or what?
So, good question. What I will do is I sort of spot check. Like I'll know which ones I'll pick, like 2 or 3 from each worksheet. Let's see. So where's the first worksheet? So off of this worksheet, I'll pick 2 or 3 and check them for accuracy. The rest will be completion. And the same with that review worksheet. And so if you miss, basically I make it where if you miss everything that I check, but you've done everything, you make an 80. But there's really no reason to miss anything because it's all posted. So, ought to be 100. Again, if you're just flying through and you never check, and you happen to miss all the ones that I check, then you're going to end up with about an 80. But there's no reason for that. Like, get 100. That way it should be a great help, is the hope. Other questions? All right, again, you've got 10 minutes left. Some of you have already started working the review or working on the quiz corrections. And then I will answer those questions on tomorrow.